Hey guys, welcome to another tier ranking. Welcome to a tier ranking I've always wanted to do. Yes, I've talked about Survivor winners before. I've done a whole ranking on them. This is now a tier ranking, and this is also a couple years later because my opinions on some of the winners have drastically changed. But I wanted to talk about these winners. I might do Big Brother. If you guys want me to do Big Brother tier winners list, I will do that as well. But I want to talk about every single winner of Survivor and put them on a tier list from S to F. Um, and I'm only judging them on their winning season. I have to make that very, very clear. Like they might have played awful in like later seasons or better in later seasons. I'm only judging them on their winning season. That is it. I have to make that very, very clear because they may play amazing on their winning season and play awful like seasons down the road. Only their winning seasons counts. So let's start with the very first winner. I think I have them all in chronological order. So let's talk about Richard Hatch, who I think is a damn good winner. Richard Hatch is an A tier. I think he's a good winner. I think he's strategically savvy. I think he obviously he invented the alliance. He did something amazing in the final immunity challenge by throwing it because he had he put the two of them in a hard decision because either one of them had to take him to the end. So he just threw it and put all the dirty work on them. And I think it was a brilliant move. And I think he's a very good player. Even when he played in the All Star, which I'm not counting, you could still tell he's very strategically savvy. He's a very good player. And he's the first winner. So yeah. Then there's Tina Westman, who's a B tier. I think she's a good winner. I think she's been underrated actually. I think a lot of people say Colby deserved it. For the longest time, I thought so too. But when you watch Australian Outback again, Colby doesn't give a good final jury performance. He almost like basically almost throws it to Tina. Like he is not a very good strategic player, and his social game is only okay. Tina is a great strategic player. She made decisions that brought her to the ending, and either way, she was winning that game, no matter who she went to the very end with. And I think that's just good game right there. So yeah. Then we have Ethan, who is I'm gonna put him in D. I don't think Ethan is a good player. I think he's a likable player with a good social game. His strategic game isn't that there. His physical game. I think if he went to the end with say like a Lex, I think Lex would have beaten him. And I've never seen Ethan as a strong player. I just always thought he was like this that likable, good-looking guy. Nothing all there was strategic savvy or even like his social game was good, but like nothing about him screamed like great player to me. So yeah. For Sepia, I'm gonna put her in the C because I think she is a bit of a boring winner, but she does do strategic good gameplay, especially near the ending, how she studied every player to win that immunity challenge to put her further in the game. And she had good social maneuverings, and she did some pretty good stuff. I think in the pre jury, she was non-existent, but like she had some decent moves. I think she's a boring winner, but she's fine. There's Brian. In his season, he does play a good game. I will say that. He could never play again. But his game, he had complete dominance in the game. And his only biggest flaw was his social game. His social game was dreadful. Like, people hated him. Like, he went to the final two with Clay, who was one of the most despicable people in this season, and he almost lost. It's because his social game was bad, but his physical game was good, and he had a good strategic game. But he was really lacking that social game. Then we have Jenna, who is. I'll put her in the C. I think her social game was also very bad. Her strategic game was decent. Her physical game was very impressive. Like how she had to win in the ending is impressive. And she was against all young guys, so I'm very impressed by her win out in the ending and how she takes Rob Sesternino out at the end and beats Matthew. It was a good move. She made good moves throughout the game. I think she made a lot of mistakes as well, but for what she did, I think she's an okay winner. Then we have Sandra, the most overrated winner. I'm gonna put her in the C tier. I know a lot of people love Sandra. They call her the queen. She is not the queen. I have to put her in the series because she's a two-time winner. Like, that is impressive. I will say it's very, very impressive. We see in later seasons she can never win again because she's not very good of a player. I don't want to say this because this sounds bad, but I'll say it. I think she is the luckiest player to win the game twice. She just got lucky. She has this like gameplay which I hate. She just kind of like stays in the background and lets everybody take each other out, and she just kind of like ends up in the finals. Like 'cause everyone just like, oh, she's just kind of there, and she has that mentality, anyone but me kind of thing, and like it worked for her 2 seasons. Like she is a weak player, and she just showed off that she was a weak player, and she got to the ending, and she always went to the end with very unlikable people. I guess you could say that's smart gameplay. I don't think that was her game. I think she just kind of sits there and just ends up in the finals and wins because everyone she goes to the end with are despicable people, but I don't know. Pearl Islands, I understand her victory more. Heroes vs. Villains, that was just a bitter jury. It should have went to Russell or Poverty, but I'll put her in the C tier. Amber, I think, is the worst, one of the worst winners in all of Survivor. She literally did nothing. She is a terrible physical player. Her strategic game is non-existent, and her social game is meh. I love her relationship with Rob, and their romance is very nice. Just Rob did everything that season, and she won because that jury hated Rob. That is the only reason she won the game. So she is a very bad winner. Then we have Chris, who is, I'm going to put him in the A. I think he's one of the most overlooked players. He's a damn great winner. Could he win again? Who knows? I don't know. But his win in Vanuatu is incredibly impressive. He was one of the weakest players on his tribe, and when the merge hit, he aligned with all the women, and he was target one, but he got all the way to the end all himself through great strategic gameplay and very good social moves. And I think he does a great job. I think his final jury performance is one of the best final jury performances, and I think he plays a solid game. Then we have Tom Westman, who I also think plays a very solid game, and I'll put him in the A. Like he does everything good. Like social game was good, his strategic game was very good, his physical game was very dominant. I think Ian played a better game, but Tom does play a very, very solid game. And then we have Danny, another boring winner. I'll put her in C. I think she does have good moves, and I think the last challenge was very rigged. But I think Danny is a decent player, and how she kind of like hit herself from the cameras was kind of clever, but nothing amazing. Again, she's just kind of a boring winner to me. But no one's boring as Iris. I'm not an Iris fan. I think he also got lucky. If Terry Deeds won the final Immunity Challenge, she would have went with Danielle and probably jury sweeped, but Terry should have won. I hated that Iris won. Iris is a decent physical competitor, but yeah. Then we got Yul Kwan, who's an S tier. Yul is one of my favorite winners. I think he played a perfect game. I think he is one of the smartest and strategic people to play the game. Social game was great. His physical game was great. How he controlled the I-24 was fantastic, and how he flipped Jonathan Penner to create dominance in the game. I think Yul Kwan is a brilliant player. I also think Earl is a very good player. I think Earl was the first jury sweep, first person to win the game as jury sweep. He's a very good player, very strategically savvy. I think if he went to the end with the Owlman, it would have been very difficult, but he got himself to the final three in a very clever way, and I think he's a good player. Then we got Todd, whose head's a little cut off here, who's also an A-tier player. I think Todd, once again, gives one of the best final jury performances I've seen in the game. I think he's a great strategic player. I think, again, he created a lot of power and control in the game, and yeah, I think he's good. I think he's a good player. I think Poverty is also a damn good player. I put her in the A tier. I think she's also a dominant player. How she created like the Black Widow alliance and stuff with Suri, and how she won fans versus favorites, I completely understand because she wanted power and she got it, and she took out all the strongest males in the game, and it's very impressive, very very impressive. Um, Bob, I gotta put him there because Bob got lucky again, and Bob didn't do anything. He won challenges, but his social game was awkward. There was no strategic game, and he didn't really know what he was doing in the game. And again, he won because he went to the end with Sugar and Susie. Because if Maddie went to the end, Maddie would have won. And Bob almost lost to Susie, who was a horrible player. So Sugar could have won if she would have just owned her game, but Bob just didn't know what he was doing. So yeah, I can't really respect that game. JT is an S tier because JT in his game of Tokachins, I'm not counting Heroes as Villains or Game Changers, him in Tokachins is a perfect game. His game was so good, people were going to throw their game to him because they loved him so much. His social game was so perfect. His physical game was great. His strategic game was great. He completely dominated. That everybody loved him in that game. Like, no matter who he went to the end with, he would have won the game. I think that's a perfect game to me. Like, no matter what jury member you go to the end with, JT wins. Like, and there's Natalie White, who I can't stand. Like, Russell should have won. I think everyone knows that. She's a terrible player. She, again, got lucky because she got to the end with a player that jury fucking hated. Natalie didn't do a damn thing in the game. Then we got Fabio. I'll put him in the C tier. Again, he was kind of a bumbling moron, a bit of a doofus. His strategic game, not really much of a strategic game. His social game was okay. His physical game was really impressive because he had to win his way all the way out, which is, I give him respect for that, but nothing that groundbreaking. Boston Rob. I will say he's an S tier because we're going to talk about Redemption Island because the season he won. Complete dominance. It's a perfect game to me. He controlled the entire game. He controlled everybody's fate in the game. His strategic game was perfect. His physical game was amazing. Even a social game, like he still got to know all his teammates and everything. He pretty much jury sweeped that game, except for one stupid vote by Ralph. But he played a dominant game. He controlled the whole game. That is the definition of a perfect game. Sophie, I'm gonna put Sophie. I'll put her in the C because there is impressive things she does in South Pacific, but she loses just because the reason she loses is because Coach gives a horrible Foundry performance. If Coach would have delivered the goods and owned his game, he would have beaten Sophie. But Sophie, I give her respect because she did give a good Foundry performance and it showed her game. But I think she's just a very boring winner, and she didn't do as much things as she said she did. But that's all thanks to like Foundry performances. Then we get Kinstral Island. I'm gonna put her in the B. I know everyone thinks Kim's the best female winner. I don't think she is. I think Poverty is one of the best female winners, probably the best. I think Kim, she plays on a season full of really stupid people. That's why she dominates the game. And I give her a lot of respect because she controls the game. She controls the game. But she also had flaws in her game, and she did piss a lot of people off and everything. And just, I feel like if she played on a season full of actual smart players, which we did see Winners at War, she can never play a dominant game. See, Boston Rob has played on an All-Star season in Survivor All-Stars, a season with all great players, and he does play a good game. Even at Winners at War, when he plays with winners, he still plays a good game. Boston Rob will always be a good player, but Kim is only a good player if she plays with really bad players. So, there you go. Denise is also C. She's, again, boring. It sucks that some of these females are just really boring winners. They just kind of like ended up at the winner's circle. They didn't do anything all that impressive and just, John Cochran, he had total dominance in the game. He controls the game. But again, he was also a season full of really stupid players. I think he is a good player, though. I will say that. And so is Kim. Just, they're not like the best tier, like a Boston Rob and stuff. And then we have Tyson, and his season below versus water was impressive. I think he played such a strategic game, really good strategic game, really good social game, physical game. I think all the takes of a good winner was in that season of Below versus Water. Tony's the best of the best. Two-time winner in both seasons at Cocky Wins at War. winning Winners at War just kind of cemented him as the best player of all time because he played against all the best players and destroyed the competition. Then we got Natalie, who's a very good winner. Again, physical, strategic, and her social game isn't perfect, but I think she's very good and a good winner. Mike is one of my favorite winners. I love Mike. I'm going to put him in the A because I think Mike, he did have to win his way out. Oh, sorry, guys. He had to win his way out. And a lot of people think that's not impressive. I think it's very impressive. So what makes him different than like a Fabio or like a Colby or something? I think he does have a strategic game. He has a good social game. He did fuck up, but his volunteer performance shows that he is a very smart player and he can still get the votes. And he's just such a lovable player, and that's why he won, because he's so likable. And he played on a season full of very unlikable people, and he won it. So yeah. Jeremy in Second Chance is S tier because again, he dominated that game. He was winning the even if he went to the end with like a Kelly Wentworth, it would have been very close, but I still think he would have beaten her. Strategic, social, physical, all three aspects of the game, he played perfectly. Michelle's in that other category, the boring like female winners. Adam is overrated. I'm sorry, just like was never an Adam fan. I just he has the Sab story. He goes to the end with two people who no one respects. If he goes to the end with like a Jay, or he goes to the end with like a David or something, he will lose. Adam, I can tell he loves the game and wants to play the game good, but I don't think he's a good player. Oh wait, yeah, Sarah is the best female player. She's in S tier. I think Sarah in Game Changers plays a perfect game. I think, again, strategically, I think she has complete dominance and control of the game. She didn't even have to win challenges to control the game. She just had to control Rat Culpepper and Ty and Suri and Michaela and stuff. And how she utilizes the advantages to her advantage is brilliant. Ben, I'm going to put in the B tier. The Ben Bomb, I think his idle plays are impressive. I think he does play a good game. I think he has a good story to him, but he did, again, get lucky with that fire ranking challenge. Wendell is also a very good player. I think Dominic is a better player, but Wendell did have good social game. He did play a good strategic game as well. So, yeah. I think Nick is also a B tier. I think Nick is a good player. I think he made good moves, made good allies, and again, he had a very good foul juror performance. Chris from Edge of Extinction. God. I'm putting him in D tier because his move when he comes back in the game is very good. What he does to Rick. Rick Devens should have won the fucking game, by the way. But his move, what he does, is very, very good move. When he takes the necklace off and then he goes against Rick Devens in the Fire Making Challenge and beats him. That was a very good move. I will say that. That's what stops him from being in the F, because I want to put him in the F because I fucking hate him as a winner because he doesn't play the game. He's the whole game. He's on the edge of extinction. It's not a fair win. I think his win is very cheap. It's a cheap win, and I don't think he deserved to win. And I think it's a complete disgrace to the game. But his move against Rick Devens was a good move. I'll put him in the D tier for that, but I do not respect his win. And I think it's an insult to the game of Survivor. Tommy is a good winner. I think Tommy kind of shows like that, like, you don't need idols or advantages to control the game and play the game well. And yeah, it's impressive. Erica is a terrible winner. I don't understand the love for Erica. I just don't get it. Same with Marianne. I think these are both very underwhelming winners, and they both do the same thing by taking credit for moves they didn't even really do or come up with. So yeah. There we go. There's the tier ranking. Now I gotta sort these out. Oh Lord. These are all amazing players in their seasons. Tony is the best. He's the king of Survivor for a reason. I'm going to go Yule and then Jeremy next. And then I'm going JT. I think JT played a more dominant game because he played against better players than Tokens, the Mouse, and Rob. Boston Rob will have to go to the ending because he did play his winning season were against pretty stupid players. So yeah, so Tony, Yule, Jeremy, JT, Sarah, and Boston Rob I think are the best winners of their seasons. A tier, easily. I have to put Todd at the top of A tier. I think his game was amazing. Then Poverty, then Richard Hatch. I'm gonna put Tom, Earl, Brian, Tyson, Mike. All great winners though. The B tier, I think Tina deserves that top spot. And then I think Tommy deserves to be beside her. Then Kim, then John Cochran, then Natalie, then Brian, then Wendell, then Nick, then Ben. All good winners though. C tier, Sepia is going to stay at the top. Then Sandra, then Danny, then Fabio, then Michelle, then Jenna, then Denise. No, then Sophie, then Denise. They're okay winners. The D tier, I'll put Adam at the top, then Aris, then Ethan, Erica, Marianne, then Chris. F, Bob, Natalie, Amber. Amber's the worst. So yeah, there we go. That was my tier ranking of all the Survivor winners, in my opinion. So in the comment section below, please tell me what is your favorite and least favorite Survivor winner. Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe to this channel and join the Ducks.